So you want to foster dogs, huh? Hi guys, it's Erin. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about fostering dogs and my experience when I was fostering dogs. I'm sorry I'm a little uneven here. I'm going to kind of putting up pictures and maybe videos of my past fosters in this little area, so I'm kind of off to the side a little bit. If you don't know what fostering is, it's basically when you take a dog into your home, a dog that is with a rescue or with a shelter, and you take care of that dog as if it was your own until it ends up being adopted out. We are unfortunately not fostering right now because we are in a really small one-bedroom apartment and we are at our max limit for pets in our apartment complex, but as soon as we do get a house again, I would love to get back to fostering, and then I will probably, make more videos about that. So I'm going to start off with the pros of adopting a dog. The number one pro that tops everything else is that you are saving dogs' lives. Fosters save lives, and adopters do too, of course. If you're not aware, millions of dogs get put down every year because shelters are overcrowded. And so what rescues do is a lot of times they will either take in owner surrenders so that that dog doesn't end up in a shelter, or they will pull dogs out of shelters and place them in foster homes. By volunteering to foster, you're helping by clearing out those shelters, because every home that they have available for foster, and granted, some people even take multiple fosters at one time, but every home that they have available to foster, that's one less dog that will be in a shelter. And when you foster, and they say this for adoption too, not only are you saving one life, but you're saving two, because you're pulling a dog out of a shelter, that's one life, and then you're opening a kennel up for a new dog to come in, that's two lives. Placing dogs in foster care help get them adopted out faster because they are used to living in a home, so the foster home generally will work on things such as potty training and crate training and just general manners. Fostering can be a great practice run for someone who isn't quite sure if they're ready for a dog. You can try fostering a dog because it is temporary and see how you feel. It's also a way to do what they call foster to adopt. So if there is a dog that you are interested in, you can foster it and see if that dog is a right fit for your home. It's kind of like a trial run in a way. Fostering is great for people who just can't quite commit to owning a dog, whether maybe you travel a lot for work, or maybe you're in the military and maybe next year you might not be in the same place you're at now. You can foster a dog temporarily and have that companionship for now, as well as I said before, saving a life without having to commit for a dog's entire life. Or you can just do it because you want to help out. That's why I started fostering. I just wanted to help save rescue dogs. So how it works is a rescue will pair you up with a dog that is in their system, and you will take that dog in and treat it as your own. So you will feed them, take care of them, take them to their vet visits. Generally, the rescue will pay for extra things like those vet visits. Sometimes they pay for food, sometimes they don't. That kind of does depend on the individual rescue themselves. You're just giving that dog a place to live until they get adopted. So I had some fosters for as little as a week, and then some fosters I had as long as 2 months, and I'm sure there's plenty of people who had fosters way longer than even 2 months. So that is something that you kind of want to think about when you go into fostering. If you are interested in fostering, what I recommend is finding a rescue group or even a shelter that you are interested in. There's tons of different types of groups. There's breed-specific groups, which is what I fostered for. I fostered for the Dalmatian Rescue of Colorado, and they are a nationwide group. They're not just based in Colorado. I actually lived in Nebraska when I fostered for them. But like I said, there's breed-specific groups. There's groups just for small dogs. There's groups just for big dogs. There's groups that just do all breeds. There's groups that just do puppies. You can even foster cats and other animals. I never have, but I mean, there's fosters for basically anything. So anyways, so you find a rescue that you want to work with, and generally what they'll have you do is go online and fill out a application. A lot of times on those applications, they'll have questions such as, do you have a fenced-in yard? What other pets do you have? Do your current pets have all their vaccinations? Are they fixed? Sometimes they may ask for references or like a vet reference. That way they can call your vet to make sure that your animals are, up to date on everything. And then after you fill out the application, a lot of times they will call you and do an interview and then eventually a home visit. So what they're gonna do is, and like I said, this is not all rescues, this is just how most rescues are. They'll come out to your home and they'll check everything out, make sure everything looks safe, everything looks good, your current pets are taken care of, you didn't lie on your application, you're not like a hoarder or something like that. They're just gonna make sure it's a good environment for a dog to be living in. And some things that you do want to take into consideration when you do look into fostering is making sure you have enough space. Making sure, not all rescues require a fenced-in yard. Some of them are okay if you don't have a fence. As long as you supervise the dog, you take them out on leash while you're out there. But you do want to take that into consideration. You want to take into consideration if you have kids or other pets, especially cats. That can sometimes be a challenge. Or even your own dog in your own home. Is your dog going to be okay? Or even if you have multiple dogs, is your dog going to be okay with having a new dog come in the house and then leave, and then a new dog come in and then leave? Or can you yourself handle it? Do you have the time for another dog? Do you have the energy? And like I said, do you have the space for another dog? Because it can be challenging at times. Very rewarding, but it can be challenging. And even if you don't have that much dog experience or you're wanting to gain experience, that's fine. Most rescues are okay with that. Just let them know. Obviously, if you're not comfortable taking a dog-aggressive dog or you're not comfortable with taking a puppy mill dog, that's okay. Let them know. But as a foster, you are still expected to at least train them a little bit. So if you don't know how to potty train a dog, or you don't know how to teach a dog leash manners or crate manners, that is something I would consider learning beforehand. Even if it's just watching some YouTube videos, it's super easy to learn basic stuff like that through YouTube. Because the goal in the end is to get these dogs adopted. You want to make sure that they are ready for it. So if you take in a foster dog and you don't do anything with it, it is going to make it much harder for that dog to get adopted. Now, one thing that I think a lot of people forget to take into account is the difficulties of fostering. Not every dog is going to be easy. Granted, you should voice your opinion with the rescue group and tell them whether you are or are not comfortable with taking a certain dog. And what I mean by that is some dogs are dog aggressive. Some dogs aren't good with kids. Some dogs aren't house trained. You don't always know the dog's history, or even if you do know the dog's history, that history can affect the dog's behavior. And so a couple cases that I had of my difficult dogs, I'll put the dog's pictures up here so you know which ones I'm talking about. I had a 4-year-old Dalmatian named Travis. He was my very first foster ever. His owners, from the time he was a puppy all the way until the rescue took him, well, we didn't take him, the people surrendered him to the rescue. He was kept in their backyard in a outdoor dog run or dog kennel his entire life. They fed him and that's it. They didn't socialize him, they never took him out, didn't play with him, nothing. So Travis had a lot of issues. He was very protective of not only his environment, but of his owners. The very first time I met him, he tried to rip my head off because he didn't know me and he had a lot of aggression issues due to his background. So that was one thing I had to work on him for a very long time. And then this dog here, this is Davy. I know he's not a Dalmatian, but he's a white dog with spots, so the rescue took him. We actually don't know his story. He came from Texas and he might have been used as a bait dog, or he might have been chained up and attacked by other dogs, but Davy had the worst dog aggression I have ever seen in my life. Horrible. He had to be kept separated from my dog at all times. It was actually kind of miserable because we were rotating him throughout the house. This guy here is Dylan. He was a bit of a special needs dog. He was also found on the streets of Texas. He was hit by a car and had a severely damaged leg and had to go through so many surgeries and ended up having to lose his leg. But then once he was in the rescue, we found out he was deaf. So, I had to work on sign language with him and kind of adapt to his learning style. you know, because he was a special needs dog. And then there's Arnold and Ryan, who were puppy mill dogs. I'm gonna put their pictures up here. They were living in tiny little cages their entire lives, only to be used for breeding with absolutely no human contact, or maybe if they did have human contact, it wasn't always good. These guys were so scared of their own shadow. They were scared of me. Ryan, if I even came within 2 feet of him, would just pee all over himself because he was so scared. So those are kind of cases where you aren't just getting a happy, jumpy, go lucky puppy. It's something that you kind of have to work with and adapt to. Granted, not all cases are going to be like that. The rescue usually gave me some of the harder ones just because I do have a dog training background, but I had plenty more dogs that were just awesome, easy dogs, just were absolute breeze. I had a couple litters of puppies, and I'll put those pictures up here. I had a couple of dogs who just were strays and obviously had families at one time but lost their families or whatever, and they were just the best dogs. Usually those ones do get adopted out the fastest. And you also have to keep in mind that some of these dogs aren't going to be, you know, house trained, so, you know, they might not know how to let you know that they need to go outside and go to the bathroom. So you have to kind of realize that you might have some things destroyed. Your carpet's going to get peed on. I'm not even going to say it might get peed on. I can tell you right now, your floor is going to get peed on. You might have a dog that destroys your drywall or chews on your trim. You might have a dog that busts out of the crate when you're not there and chews everything up. Might have a dog that digs in your backyard. And, you know, those are some things that you do want to consider. You also want to make sure you do give the dog time to decompress. Moving to a new house is scary, in a new family. They don't know you, they don't know where they're at, they don't know what happened to them. So you want to make sure that you can, you know, give them their own little space, have their own crate, give them time to just settle into the house. You don't want to just throw them in with your dogs or your kids or whatever and just expect them to do great. You know, you have to be patient, you have to take time. But it's not all bad, I promise. There's a lot of reward that comes out of fostering. Our rescue does pull most of their dogs from Texas. There is dog population, overpopulation issues all over the United States. Doesn't matter where you are, but it seems like the South does have a little bit more trouble with it. We do have a coordinator that does live down in Texas, so we pull a lot of our dogs up from Texas. What my rescue does is they pull any sort of Dalmatian mix, or anything that could look like maybe it has Dalmatian, maybe it doesn't. I mean, like I said, Davey, he obviously does not have Dalmatian in him, but he was a white dog with black spots or freckles or whatever, so they took him. Of course, if you do not have the option to foster or adopt and you still want to help out, you can always volunteer at your local shelter or donate. You know, they always need help no matter what. Rescues do thrive on donations. As long as the rescue is a nonprofit 501c3 rescue organization, you can use any expenses that you spent on the dog as a tax deduction. So if you bought food, or if you bought leashes or toys or whatever you bought for the rescue dog, you can put towards your taxes as a tax deduction. Not all rescues will pay for food. I think most of them do, but not all of them do, so that is kind of something that you want to keep in mind of. Okay guys, well I hope that this video was at least a little bit informative about, you know, what to expect when fostering or how to go about fostering. I've had 15 fosters over the past 2 years that I was fostering, and it is so rewarding and I miss it so much and I can't wait to get back into it.